Hi everybody, I'm Michelle Carre and welcome to Your Delicious Life, where each week we take a look at life from a different perspective and we either learn something new or we get reminded of something that we already knew. This week's episode is called Create a Spiritual Practice. Now, when you say the word spiritual or spirituality, it can bring up a lot of different things for people. There are some people that think of organized religion and a specific book or a place. There are people that think about a being or an entity that they believe in or follow. And some people might even think about those who have passed on and connecting with them. There's a lot of different ways to define spirituality, but today what I'm talking about is having your own way to practice it and creating a practice that works for you. No matter what your spiritual beliefs are, really, I believe a spiritual practice comes down to two things. Number one, a trusted connection, and number two, quiet. Now, when it comes to a trusted connection, it's really easy for people to say, I believe in this thing, or I believe that things will work out the way they're meant to, or I believe in this set of policies or guidelines or rules or practices, or this being or this thing. And we can connect to that, but sometimes it's hard to trust in that belief system. So when we have a spiritual practice, what it does, it allows us to build up that trust, because we have to practice trust just like any other area of our life. And when we do it with our spirituality and we just kind of keep coming back to that place of, I trust in this, I believe in this, whatever this is for you, it doesn't matter, that's your choice. But having a practice where we come back to that and are practicing our ability to trust in our belief system is so important. Now, that other piece, quiet, is also incredibly important. Our lives today are incredibly loud and hectic and busy between social media, the TV, movies, radio, cars. There's just a lot of noise in our world. So carving out some time each day for quiet is extremely important. Now, during that time, you may choose to have a prayer practice. You may read a Bible or a Quran or some other religious book that's important to you. You might meditate. You might set intentions. You might repeat mantras. You might journal. Again, no right or wrong here. It's about what works for you. But having that space of quiet where you're focused and you are just in that moment and you're not interrupted by other noises or people or other things that are happening around you is so powerful, because it's those moments of stillness, those moments of quiet where we can really hear what's important. And some of you may say that you can hear your God speaking to you. Some of you may say that you can see a vision for what it is that you want and you can connect to that. Some of you may say just being able to journal without correction or pause and just letting it all flow out of you is incredibly therapeutic. All of these things do incredible things for us and allow us to get connected back to a deeper place within ourselves, but then return to our everyday lives from a more stabilized, steady, grounded position. Maybe you're thinking, look, Michelle, I just don't have any spiritual or religious practice whatsoever. It is what it is. I see what I see. When I'm dead, and that's the end of it. That's totally fine. But one thing I would suggest is the ability to release control. It's one of those things that we try and have a lot of control over a lot of different things in our lives. But even the practice of accepting and trusting that you can't control everything that's happening in your life is incredibly powerful. So if you don't have necessarily a religious or a spiritual practice that really resonates, just having a moment for yourself to say, you know what, I can't control everything that's happening. I'll focus on what I can be in control of, and I'm going to just accept that not everything is in that bucket, and there are things out there that I am not responsible for or in charge of. Now, of course, this doesn't mean you just, I don't know, it's not up to me. I can't control it. I always tell you guys, hard work, we have to put the effort in. We can't just will things to happen in our lives. But there is that piece of it too where we do have to release that control. So sometimes this practice, having a spiritual practice, is just simply reminding yourself of those things. One of the great benefits of having a spiritual practice, whether it's prayer or meditation, it allows you to have focus. And last week when I talked about wellness, we talked about the importance of focus when you're working out and how you can't even think about anything else because you're just trying to count through the rest of your reps or wondering when it's going to be over. Well, meditation or prayer or any sort of quiet spiritual practice also helps us with our focus as well. Now, people often shy away from meditation because they think, I can't turn my mind off. These thoughts keep coming in. But part of that meditation and part of that focus is about acknowledging a thought coming in and then releasing it, or acknowledging it and then going back to the mantra that you've been repeating, or acknowledging it and going back to the statements that you've been repeating to yourself. That is part of the focus, because when you go to work in the daytime, let's say you're sitting in front of your computer, or you're helping your child out with their homework, or you're meeting with a friend, look, you're going to still have a ton of things going through your mind, but you want to be one-on-one with that person or one-on-one with that task you are trying to complete. So when you have these practices in your day that train your brain to focus and train you to accept a thought coming in and then release it, or allow you to learn how to back on track and shift really quickly, that's going to help you when you're chatting and you're having coffee with your friend and you think, I've got to pick up bread. Instead of focusing on the fact that you also have to get strawberries and some apples and some sandwich meat, you're going to be able to go back to that conversation with your friend and be in that moment because you've been training your brain to be where your feet are. And I love that quote, be where your feet are. I think that's just so brilliant. But our meditative practices, our spiritual practices, they allow us to connect with something greater than ourselves, but they also allow us to stay incredibly grounded and focused. So I really believe it's an important part of our lives, and I strongly encourage you to think about what it is that you could maybe do to bring this into your life. Like I mentioned before, it could be reading a spiritual book in the morning for yourself. It could be a prayer practice multiple times a day. It could be meditation practices, and it could be, 5, 10, 20 minutes in the morning or in the evening, or it could be 2 minutes here and 2 minutes there, or just simply stopping to take a breath, couple of breaths, and refocus your attention. I think these things will do amazing things for your life and to help you live the life that you truly envision for yourself. So take a moment, think about what might work for you, and start to put it into practice for your life. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I always love it when you come to the blog and watch these episodes. I try to keep them short and sweet for you. And just want to remind you as well, November 4th is the Create Your Delicious Life workshop. It's here in Airdrie at the Embrace event space. So it's right by the Hayloft restaurant in that parking lot there. It's a gorgeous space, and it's going to be somewhat intimate with us. I didn't want to have a room that I could fill with 100 people. I wanted to keep it smaller because the work that we're going to be doing is important work, and I want you to have the space to do that. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by too many people or too much noise or anything like that. So I wanted to create that opportunity for you to really think about what it is you want in your life and what you envision for yourself, and then create some goals that support that. And then we'll actually go through a way to create a plan for yourself on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. So you're taking steps to make this happen. So I'm incredibly excited for this workshop. I can't wait to see everyone there. So if you haven't already done so, go to michellecarre.com, click on workshops, and you'll see Create Your Delicious Life at the top there, and you can get your tickets online. Hope to see you soon, everybody. Take care.